All right, let's get into it here. Could Fred Warner return to the 49ers during the NFL playoffs? We have some Niners injury news going into this Sunday night football game against the Chicago Bears with the number 1 seed on the line. And will the Niners be able to keep Robert Saleh around? What John Lynch had to say about that this morning on the radio. Welcome into the San Francisco 49ers Report. My name is Chase Sr. Hopefully everybody out there had a fantastic Christmas. A Merry Christmas to everybody. If you don't celebrate Christmas, happy holidays. With the new year coming up, I hope that you can ring in 2026 in spectacular fashion, and thank you so much for your continued support here on the show. This is why you subscribe to the channel. We're always talking Niners here on the program, regardless of where I am, inside the Chat Sports studios, even if I'm in my car. I want to bring you the best Niners content right here on YouTube. A quick NFC playoff picture, by the way, following the Christmas slate of games. With the Detroit Lions losing last night on the road against the Minnesota Vikings, Lions officially out of the playoffs. Kind of had a sense that was trending in that direction because Detroit last week lost to Pittsburgh at home, and that led to the Niners being able to clinch a playoff spot, but the Lions going from on the outside looking in for a wild card spot to officially being bounced from NFC playoff contention. And so the Green Bay Packers officially in the playoffs with that Lions loss. The NFC Field right now pretty much set outside of one team. Seahawks clinched, Bears clinched, so did the Eagles, Niners, Rams, Packers. We don't know who the 4 seed is going to be. That will be the winner of the NFC South, worst division in football, and it's going to come down to the final week of the season because the Panthers last week beat the Buccaneers, but then they play one another again in Week 18 at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, and so the winner of that game will win the NFC South and get that number 4 seed. So I've been talking about the scenario a little bit over the last couple of weeks, but even if the Niners don't win the NFC West and they don't get that number 1 seed, a 5 seed would be ideal for San Francisco. You travel to the NFC South winner. You already handled Carolina 20-9 at home in primetime, and you're much better than them. You did lose to the Buccaneers, but that was when Fred Warner suffered the dislocated and broken ankle. And you also had Mac Jones playing, and I don't think the Niners necessarily played all that well. And so I like how the Niners would match up against a team like Tampa Bay, plus the Buccaneers over the last month and a half, 2 months, really haven't been that good of a team. So that is an updated look at the NFC playoff picture going into Week 17, with Week 17 already underway, but none of those Christmas games had any playoff implications. Netflix and Amazon paid a pretty penny for those games, and the slop that we saw at the quarterback spot, not great, but they still definitely outrated any NBA game. All right, Fred Warner. Will Fred Warner come back this season? Will he join the Niners for a potential playoff run? He suffered a dislocated and broken ankle on Sunday, October 12th of 2025. He has been rehabbing several hours a day since. Now, Fred Warner has been an Iron Man throughout his career. Prior to this injury against Tampa Bay, he had missed 1 game in his entire career since getting drafted in 2018. Even last year when he suffered that broken bone in his ankle against the New England Patriots, he played for the rest of the year. Even when the Niners season was over, Fred Warner was still out there playing against the Arizona Cardinals in Week 18 a season ago. So he has been so reliable, so durable. Health has been on his side. Unfortunately, that came to an end this year, and sometimes it's a reality of NFL football and football in general. It's a violent game, right? John Lynch said this morning. Pretty much the Niners are reassessing or opening up a door in which Warner might be able to come back this year. Here's a direct quote from the Niners general manager. Fred has been attacking his rehab in every which way, and he's making really good progress. I've said this consistently. It would be well ahead of the original timeline we were given, but Fred has the ability to move the doctors because they're going to put objective measurements out there, and if you can reach those measurements, you can get out there. And Fred has continually done that, and it has made people re-examine it. I think it's a great thing. I wouldn't put anything past him. I know I've gotten this question a lot from a lot of viewers. Chase, could Fred Warner come back? And I've pretty much said, like, man, this would be pretty much a medical miracle if Warner can come back at some point. And I've said, if he does come back, I think it would have to be the Super Bowl. But look, if the Niners are keeping that door ajar and he's meeting some of these benchmarks during his rehab, I'm not going to put it past him. I mean, the guy loves ball, cares about the game. He's spending hours a day rehabbing. He's in the hyperbaric chamber. He's on the underwater treadmill. He's not doing all this to come back for next year. He's doing this in hopes that maybe he could come back this season. And Fred Warner, prior to that injury, was once again playing at an elite all-pro level. I think that he was once again going to be in the running for Defensive Player of the Year. His overall PFF grade, 93.2. By the time of his injury, that was number one among all linebackers. His run defense grade, 91.3. That was fourth at the position. And his coverage grade, 91.5, first at the linebacker spot. He comes back. It's not going to help your pass rush. It's going to help your leadership. It's going to help your defensive alignment. You're getting a guy out there who has an extraordinarily high football IQ, consummate pro, excellent leader, one of the best players of this generation, one of the best players in the history of this organization. And even though it doesn't help out your pass rush, it does help out your defense. Something to monitor there. And boy, oh boy, wouldn't that be fascinating? Because the Niners have an opportunity here. If they win their last two games of the regular season and they win in the divisional round, NFC Championship game, they could play their next 5 games all at Levi's Stadium because Super Bowl 60 is at Levi's. Can you imagine if Warner comes back, what the ovation would be of him coming out of that Niners tunnel at Levi's Stadium? It would be nuts. And I think some people might even get emotional by that. All right, Niners injury news here. Everybody out at practice today pretty much except for George Kittle and Renardo Green. Renardo Green is going to be out. Ricky Pearsall trending in a good direction. George Kittle remains a game day, game time decision. It's good that Pearsall's been out there at least in a limited fashion all week, and there's an opportunity he could play. It was really always out of the question for him to play against Indianapolis. Re-injured the PCL, hurt his ankle. And so if you lose Kittle but you get back Pearsall, helps you a little bit. George Kittle grew up a Bears fan, wants to play in this game, number 1 seed on the line. He's been on an absolute tear over his last 6 games. 40 catches, 499 yards, and 5 touchdowns. He's playing at such a high level. And again, it's not just him helping you in the pass game, it's also the run game. I mean, the Niners' run game efficiency has gone up a lot with George Kittle on the field compared to when he was off of it after he missed time following that Week 1 injury. Now, Jake Tonches has proved to be a very solid backup pass-catching tight end. Brock Purdy had one of the plays of his life, which didn't count, against Indy when he rolled to his right and somehow fit that ball along the sideline to Tonches. Kyle Shanahan should have challenged it. He didn't. Whoever's in his ear with these challenge calls, he should fire him because he's doing a terrible job. But Tonches has proven to be a pretty damn solid tight end. And he actually started his career with the Chicago Bears. So the Niners are listing Kittle and Pearsall as questionable for Sunday night against the Bears. And then John Lynch on Robert Saleh this morning about him leaving for a head coaching job. Quote, Robert has big aspirations. He always has. I think he will be more choosy in terms of not wanting to coach anywhere. He probably wants a really good situation because he has one here, and we're blessed to have Robert. But at some point, you have to allow people to go chase their dreams. However, we can make it very attractive for him to stay, and we plan on doing that. I know that Saleh has now had success here with the Niners for 2 stints, and some fans have asked me, and we've talked about this on the show, Chase, why would Robert Saleh leave? He wants to be at the top of his field. Any competitive person wants to. And being a head coach is at the top of your field if you're a coach at the NFL level. His first stint didn't work out. He's probably motivated to go somewhere else to prove that he can be a head coach in this league. He's a competitive son of a gun. But if he doesn't go somewhere because the situation isn't great, he can hang with the Niners, increase his candidacy, his resume, his profile, and next year he can run it back with what is going to be a defense and a team that could enter 2026 as one of the top Super Bowl contenders. All right, this is the 49ers Report, live from the whip. That's what we do here on the show. Earlier this week, there was a stretch where over 2 days we had over 500,000 views. Incredible. Really appreciate all the support. Thanks for tuning into this show. Content to come all throughout the weekend and the lead up to Sunday Night Football. We'll be live for the Sunday Night Football game. Hope you all had a great Christmas. Had some good food, some good drinks, some good laughs, and good memories with your family members. You got some good presents, and I'll catch you soon. Peace.